Welcome back everyone to the Hello World Guide. This is another episode of the SFML Dodger game series, and in this video we are going to fix a couple of things that I wanted to fix in our game. So the first thing is that our music and sound are currently, in my opinion, a bit too loud. So in order to set the music, you can basically say music.set volume, and you can provide it with a value, let's say 0.5, which should set it to half of the music. And you can also go ahead and say sound.set volume, and you can actually you need to set it to something like 30, because 0.8 is between 0 and 100. I made a mistake, I thought it was between 0 and 1, but it's between 0 and 100, so I'm going to set it to something like 30, or you can set it to 50 or whatever you want. And the other sound, which is the hit sound, I'm going to call it to be around 70, which is going to kind of make our sounds a bit easier on the ears. So if I run the program, what you can see that, yeah, that's what happens. Currently, if I am holding my button and I hit the enemy, you can see it just continues. Now that's a bit of a problem, so we need to fix that. So yeah, how are we going to do that? Now in order to fix the creep problem, what we can do is we can press control in the window.poll event thing that we have got. So we are essentially in here, we are going to make it so that when we are pressing the key, we are also going to add another condition here, which is going to check for not event. Actually the variable name is e.key, which is also going to check which key is it, and we are going to only restart the game if the player presses enter. So just say sf : keyboard : enter, which is the correct key. And then maybe you can put this on the next line as well to make it kind of a bit easier to read. And in here, in the replay text, we are going to say press enter key to restart instead of press any key. If I run the program now, what you should see is that we have got everything pretty much working. So as soon as the game actually starts, and you can see that nothing happens until I press the enter key, and when I press the enter key, the game essentially restarts. So yeah, this was pretty awesome. Now before we end this video and this series, what I am going to do is I am going to add another feature in which we are going to count the number of enemies that we have so far avoided. So in order to do that, first of all, I'm going to go under my text here, and here we have got our text. So I'm going to right click on this text, and I'm going to go ahead and quick actions, and I'm going to actually right click and hit rename, and I'm going to rename this just text to something like game over text, which is essentially going to make sure that this is not mixed up with other texts that we are going to have now. So that's pretty awesome. Just hit apply, and what I'm going to do is now I'm going to create one here called another text here, and we are going to keep a record of the amount of enemies that are being defeated in that one. Now in order to implement the score tracking system, I'm going to actually move this sound variable lower, and I'm going to add actually let's do it this way, and I'm going to add an integer here called score, and I'm going to set that to 0, or maybe not set it to anything. And in the reset function, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the score to be 0 whenever we reset the game, and then I'm going to go up into the main function, and in here I'm going to go ahead and create another sf : text, which is going to be called score text, and we are going to set it to be like an empty string for now, and I'm going to set the font to be the default font that we are using, and we are going to go ahead and say score text dot set character size, and maybe set it to 30 or actually 45, something like a little larger. Then we are going to set the origin of the text, and we are not don't want the origin to be centered. This text is going to be at the right side of the screen, which means that we want its origin to be like the whole width. So I'm going to say score text dot get local bounds dot width, and for the y I'm going to set 0, and in here we are going to set the position, and obviously you can set it to whatever you want, like 200 by 200, but I want it to be the right side of the screen, so I'm going to set it to something like actually not 800, because that will put it at the edge, something like 620, which is going to be awesome. And for the testing, I'm going to set the text to be something like 0, and in here I'm going to go ahead and say window.draw text, score text actually. That's pretty awesome, and I'm actually going to change the position to something like, let's say 780 now. So let's start the game and see how well that goes. And you can see basically that I do get a text there. Now obviously you can adjust a little bit of the position if you want, and the important thing that we need to do is we need to actually display the score in there instead of just keeping it empty. So how are we going to do that? Well, actually, it's quite simple to do that. We are just going to each time that the enemy passes through, when we are resetting the enemy, each time the enemy passes through the bottom corner of the screen, we are going to increase the score by doing score plus plus, and then we are going to go up here in the before drawing the score text. We are going to set score text dot set string, and for the string we are going to take our score, and since our score is an integer, it's not going to work, so we are going to use this plus and empty string, which will basically convert the integer to a string. Now let's see whether that works or not. So as soon as I start my game here, you can see that the enemies are coming, and okay, the score is not even being drawn. Okay, that is a bit of a problem. Okay, it's not going to work that way, so we are going to yeah, have to kind of convert the integer to a string in order to actually display. So the reason it gave me that error is because my program has crashed earlier due to a kind of the computer kind of stopped, and if that happens, you just need to go under build and just rebuild the solution, and if I run the program now, it is actually working. So what you should see is that it does solve, and okay, that I did not expect that to happen, but anyways, you can see that the score is increasing correctly, and yeah, it's pretty much working. So yeah, this was pretty much it for this video, and in the next video I'm planning on making a couple of bonus episodes for this as well, so stay tuned for that. I will see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and bye.